Recently, we've talked quite a bit about the Legion Go 2 and the Legion Go S. That's mainly because they're some of the most interesting upcoming PC handhelds so far. And we have little to no word about a Steam Deck 2, little potential for a new RG Ally anytime soon because of how recently the RG Ally X came out. So, pretty much the Legion Go 2 and S are some of the most compelling new devices coming out this year, especially with how soon the Legion Go S is first launching later in February. It's actually a very exciting time. But with the version of the Legion Go S launching in February being around $750, it begs the question, is that really worth it? Granted, we don't have a concrete release date for the Legion Go 2 quite yet, and what we do know about it is from a prototype seen at CES. It's fairly confident in speculating that it's going to come out around end of Q2 during sometime Q3 of this year, pinning it around the similar time frame of when the SteamOS version of the Legion Go S is coming out. So, as it stands, I feel it's a pretty apt comparison, even though we do not have those devices in hand quite yet. And it's mostly a pre-video to sort of give you guys an idea of what you should expect and help you make a decision, and just have a discussion about some of the most compelling handhelds coming out this year. So let's jump right into this with the specs of each device. The RG Ally 2 is coming with a Z2 Extreme chip with 1TB of storage, 16GB of memory or 32GB of memory, expandable storage, pretty standard fare, detachable controllers, much larger touchpad similar in size to the one found on the Steam Deck, more refined design, has a lower resolution than the previous model, about 1080p, but it is a nice high refresh rate OLED display this time around, which I personally like a whole heck of a lot more. The Go S is going to come with the Z2 Go chip or the Z1 Extreme chip later. Currently is launching with Windows, but will eventually in May come with SteamOS, and those will have different pricing, also different specs. The version launching in February is with a $750 32GB of memory, 1TB of storage, and Windows with the Z2 Go chipset. The version launching in May for SteamOS is going to be about $500 with either the Z2 Go or the Z1 Extreme chip with 16GB of memory and 1TB of storage. These two devices offer a compelling upgrade for certain groups of people. If you're brand new to the scene and you've never gotten one, I feel like there's a pretty obvious choice to make, and that is to wait till May for the Steamless version of the Go S. But if you currently already have a device like an RG Ally or the original Legion Go, you could make a compelling case why you should get the more expensive Legion Go 2, which should have markedly better performance and immensely better battery efficiency thanks to having an 80 watt-hour battery and the more efficient chipset that comes with the Z2 Extreme chips. But if you have a device like the RG Ally X, I really don't see a reason to upgrade. You super shouldn't buy a Go S, but a Go 2 just wouldn't be all that significant because most of the performance gains are going to be due to memory advancements, architecture improvements, and just having more compute units. And the RG Ally X still performs fantastically to this day. So I highly doubt if you have one of those devices, you want to drop another $800 to $900 on another device. Considering that device is close to 6-7 months old now. It's not even a year old. But if you're sitting on an older generation handheld, like an original Neo 2 or a Steam Deck, I could definitely see you upgrading to some of these handhelds and actually getting a much better overall performance uplift than you might be expecting. If you have a Steam Deck, that actually might make a lot of sense to upgrade from, especially if you're buying into the Go S, because Valve still hasn't had any word on the potential of a Steam Deck 2. Granted, this is the year that they mentioned that would start potentially hearing more information about that, but considering we haven't really heard anything, my expectations aren't that high for any pertinent information that it actually might reveal something coming out this year At best, we might hear about something coming next year. I highly doubt we'll get anything for this year. So I would safely be able to recommend getting the Go S with SteamOS. The Windows version for $750 to me simply doesn't make all that much sense when you could buy the ROG Ally X for 50 more bucks, or potentially for $50 more buy the base version of the Go 2, which would offer way more value in performance for your $50 than saving that $50 on something like the Go S. There are other options out there with these newer chipsets. GPT Pocket Win 4 is coming out soon, but that device is close to $1,000+, so I really don't see many people buying that. On top of that, it's not as widely available as something like the Legion Go 2 and 2S will be, so it will be a lot harder for the average consumer to get their hands on. iNeo 3, almost out, but also suffers from the same thing of being way too expensive in comparison to some of the other options to actually really consider it. When the Z2 Extreme chipset found in the Go 2 is going to offer the same exact performance as some of these more expensive devices that don't use the Z2 Extreme chip, but in fact use the Ryzen 7 or Ryzen 9 365 or something, or the 375 AI chips. It's a big old mess that AMD created by changing their naming scheme to add AI and cut off a bunch of the numbers that they used to have. To me, it makes way less sense. And it just obfuscates the whole thing for the average consumer, making it way harder to discern what you have and whether or not the thing you're buying is an actual upgrade. Tangent aside, both devices offer compelling value, especially if you're upgrading from certain devices, or if you're new to the scene, offer a great point to jump on at. The Steam Deck, like I mentioned, is approaching 3 years old. It is starting to show its age, and that is not a bad thing. I love my Steam Deck, and I still use it pretty much every day, but some people want to play new titles. Some people want to be able to raise the resolution above 720p, and I understand that want, and I think it's perfectly valid. And the Go 2 with SteamOS would be that jump, especially if you get it with the Z1 Extreme chipset, which will have a better graphics chip in it than the Z2 Go chip, which that one is based off an older AMD architecture using the 680M chip, which, don't get me wrong, is better than what the Steam Deck has, but it also released the same year as the Steam Deck, so it doesn't actually have that much, architectural improvements in comparison to what the Steam Deck currently already offers. Though the Z1 Extreme equipped version of the Go S is going to have the standard 780M, which still holds up quite well and able to play most games at around 1080p low or medium, depending on what kind of game you're playing. I've been able to get a respectable 45-50 FPS at 1080p medium. Some things turned up to high in Destiny 2, which is one of my most played games, which is all I really need to be happy, and that is perfectly acceptable to me, and it is an upgrade over the Steam Deck. Destiny 2 on the Steam Deck, while gets like at 720p all low, sometimes hits 50 FPS in the most ideal situations, but tends to hover around the 30 to around 30 FPS, we'll just say that. I don't know what happened, but some update happened either to the drivers or to the game itself that recently made it a little bit more unstable, to say the least. Or it could have very easily been I screwed up something in Windows, like I do 9 times out of 10, because I run Windows on my Steam Deck. But I hope this video helped you make a decision, or really got you thinking what you want out of your PC handheld, whether or not you should upgrade or not in the first place. If you're comfortable with your original ROG Ally, or if you want to finally take the step and upgrade from the Steam Deck to something that you still be comfortable with, but still actually get some improvement. My final recommendations are, if you currently have a device like the Steam Deck or an older generation PC handheld, it would be a pretty decent upgrade to go to the Go S with SteamOS so you can stay comfortable with what you're used to and get a decent performance upgrade. But if you wanted to get something with next generation level performance, and you currently have a device like an original ROG Ally or an original Legion Go, it kinda is a no-brainer to upgrade to the Legion Go 2. It's upgrades all across the board when it comes to performance, battery life, screen quality. It is an upgrade all across the board and for around the same price as the original. So I would love to hear what you guys think down below. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All of the other social media garbage down below. And last but not least, have a wonderful day.